I was given the number of the High Commissioner's wife. Kenya High Commission
Kenya. Okay.
Nimepewa namba yake na pastor fulani mwenye alikuwa wa Mavuno na alikuwa amerudi tu Kenya. Ni kama tukienda Uganda na yeye alikuwa na transition back huko. So there's this lady, mpigie. Ni mama mpoa sana, anapenda huduma, anapenda stories za ministry, mcall. Wife ya High Commissioner sasa unajua huyo si so kidogo na dialogue hapana. Ama nimtumie message. One of those evenings one of those mornings I just decide nika message nika draft kwanza unaka save hi ni ya mtaa sana
hello
so wewe High Commissioner nikaandika kitu na nikamtumia immediately your message imeenda blue ticks ama ni call kasema sasa hizo ndio normal sasa
what is this
imeenda kwa PM mtu anashindwa huu ni random anyway nikasema wacha ni pick nimepick hivi mama ako excited hello Pastor Isaac kuna ananijua how are you my God Nairobi Chapel is coming here wow that's so good wow so when can we meet for coffee karibu nimuulize uko wapi saa hii wacha nisikae safara sana so nikamwambia well I have a few engagements today
naona form
anyway we met the following day for coffee she was happy excited she was like wow this is so good I love supporting missionaries anyway she told me I'm already heavily involved in my church but if you need anything please.
Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Pulpit podcast. My name is Trisian. I'm your host and this is episode 20, third episode of the year, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited for the guest that we have today, and we're going to get to him in a little bit. Sponsors, so far so good. We have Hodari who are making this fantastic set, so I hope you're hitting them up for all your woodwork furniture that you need in your house, in your office, anywhere that you need furniture. Just hit Hodari Fabrications up. They're going to make you some amazing stuff. All right. Thank you for the feedback that we're getting on the Red Pill. That's another segment that we have on BTP Studios. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you so much for the new subscriptions that we have. Thank you for the people who are joining us, our new family. Thank you so much. As we're recording this, I think we've already hit 400 subscribers. It is a bit exciting. Not a bit. It is very exciting, and it's amazing to the people who have seen us grow since the beginning. So asanteni sana, and I hope you're ready for this amazing ride with us. Journey to 1 million subscribers. I know we are going to get there, but we cannot do that without your support. So if you are watching our episodes and you've not subscribed, you're not being fair to us and even to yourself, because you're missing out on a lot of amazing content. So go ahead and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Beyond the Pulpit _Kenya, on Instagram at BTP Kenya. Nimesema Instagram tena ama nimesema TikTok, sijui Kenya nimesema, but Instagram at Beyond the Pulpit Kenya, TikTok BTP in caps Kenya, Facebook sijui, but iko hapa chini. All right, thank you. Follow us. We shoot amazing BTS content. Ninaangalia our content creator in the room, content manager. So that's where we post a lot of things. So if you are watching, wengine wanajuanga tuna our guests way before we post the episode. So yeah, be part of that. All right. So Larry, Wagwan. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Kungangana tu na kahoma.
Nasikia wewe nakutoa mbio.
Ni kubaya.
How do you do?
How do you do? I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
Our guest, how do you do?
I always do good.
So how do you do? Nasema, how do you do?
Oh, when you ask me how do you do, I ask you how do you do?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not supposed to answer. Kwani it's a rhetorical question?
No, just sasa.
Mwalimu wangu wa English akunifunza.
A teacher of English. Ulifunzwa na English teacher.
Awe kwenda. Tunaweza tu mseset. Hawezi kuona michome hivyo kwa subscribers wetu.
Anyways, sure. Hi guys. Na settings zimechange. Hey Mike.
Nini mic yako?
Director.
Hebu isukume mbele, isukume chuma mbele ishikane kwa kiti. No, nyuma. I mean nyuma. Hapo.
There.
Chunga kitambi isi nini.
Director, umesikia hiyo? But
Kitambi yako kidogo ita support.
Hii ni bidii. Evidence ya hard work. Thank you.
Hey,
Unaona settings imechange. You know the previous episode.
oh yeah, we were in a different set.
So no, sasa
Tumerudi studio.
Ni mbwembwe tu.
Na bado. I said in the other episode we have a studio coming up. We are almost getting our own studio and it's exciting. Itakuwa very different. Very, 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 very different. So keep up with us. Tunaendelea kugrow. Sindo? Okay, tunaweza anza na
Basi. Karibu sana.
Asante.
You're happy to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
Our guest today is Isaac Macharia. Amesema anasikia weird akitwa.
Sema tusimwite Isaac.
Akitwa it's so formal and we are not formal. We are a bit informal. So anaitwa Pastor Aizo. That's what a lot of people know him by. He's a pastor, as you've heard. He's a husband, a father, and most importantly, a minister of the word. All right, he is here to talk to us about his story. Tell us about his life beyond the pulpit, and mostly just tell us how he got into the world of ministry. And I'm a bit not a bit. National a bit nini. I'm very excited to get to know Aizo. Ameniambia aliniacha nikiwa mtoi. Here I am. Ameketi ni mimi on my show. Nakwambia times change on my show. Now I'm getting to know you. I'm getting to know you. I'm a grown up now.
Wow.
This is what I do for a living.
Interesting.
Karibu sana to this set.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, your name, full name. And guys, najua sija kuintroduce vizuri, so I think you can let our audience know.
Yep.
All of that, and then we will get right into Aizo's life growing up.
Unaona venye upasi anapiga luku.
Na kushow hata tulikuwa tumepanga kumachisha t-shirt na viatu. Hey, luku.
Wapenzi watazamaji.
Ni mambo ya dunia.
Hizo zinaitwa chocha, lakini
Si chocha.
in our humility, kama Wakikuyu tunasemanga ni kujaribu tu.
No kogelia.
Kujaribu tu. Tunasema ni kujaribu tu. Sasa hiyo kuna ghorofa 5 Kasarani.
Imagine anaendesha TX.
Ine Kayole.
Wow.
Kama hii ni kujaribu.
Ukiweza sasa.
Akiweza itakuwa ni noma. Anyway, my name is Isaac Macharia. That's my official name. Pastor Aizo works well for me.
Okay.
Yeah, nikiitwa Isaac Macharia, it sounds like mtu ananiita ni punish. It's too formal. Kwa walimu, Isaac.
Why is Isaac Macharia?
Pastor Aizo works well for me. Yeah, I serve as a lead pastor with Trinity Chapel Kampala, which is a church plant of Nairobi Chapel. Yeah, we've been there. This is our 8th year. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Yeah, this is our 8th year. In case you pick a Ugandan accent,
You've already picked it up.
Please know that I am just trying to contextualize because of where I come from. Yeah, but it's been an amazing faith journey. I am married to Rahab. We've been married. It's going to be 15 years this November, and we have 4 wonderful kids. I like to say for now, but for her hiyo for now anasema gashafunga hiyo chapter. Yeah, our first daughter is Macharia, 12. Our second daughter is Tugi, 9, and then our third born, who is our first son, Koban, is 6, and then we have our last born boy, Jerome, who is 20 months, almost 2 years. Yeah. It's good to be here.
That's a beautiful.
And I look forward to sharing my story, and I pray that it will encourage someone. Yeah, and it will impact someone.
Awesome.
For the glory of God.
First things first. Those are really beautiful names.
I know, right?
Kuna director wetu. Hapa.
Amaria, tuko na mtu anaitwa Michael Hosea.
Anaitwa Michael Hosea.
It's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful name too. Na tunampenda sana. Ni director wetu.
Interestingly is how we picked our kids. We picked our kids' names before we got married. Imagine, in our courting days.
You knew?
Yeah, we knew.
These names were existing.
Yeah, those names they were existing before we got married. So we were just like, if we get a first daughter, if we get a first son, very interesting. We keep reviewing and we say, wow, it's
Macharia ilikuwa hapo 12 years ago.
Wamekuwa married 15 years. Validate how long sasa?
we did it 2 years. Maybe tutashare hapo
tutaingiza hapo baadaye. Alright.
Almost actually 3. Yeah, but we gave our kids names before they even came. It's an act of faith. And it's also another way of saying hakuna kuachana.
We are here, we are doing this. It's lakini Nairobi kuna watu walipick out names and things happen. But
so Kampala.
Amaria is in the scriptures. It's a Hebrew name which means provided by God. Mm-hmm. But in the scriptures it's actually a male name. But tukasema
whatever.
Let's stick to the
mtoto ni wenu.
Yeah. Tugi. One of our friends was getting married, and we were part of like the wedding committee. So in the committee there was a guy who was already married, and on one of those days his family came tukiwa kwa meeting, so akatuintroducea akasema, this is my daughter Tugi. We just looked at each other with Rehab and we were like, that's a good name. Andika hiyo.
Ongeza kwa list.
Yeah, Koban, same thing. A friend of our, we were in our second year of courting, and a pastor friend asked us to help her plan a camp. A first youth camp in their church. Church yao ni ushago hivi. So we had met at Park University where we did our theology, and she realized we are gifted in youth ministry. So she asked us to plan a camp for her church. So we came up with speakers. Akasema, good, please invite them. So we went to invite one of our pastor friends, and when we took the invitation letter, we found yeye na watoi wake, and the boy was called Koban. So he said, hey, wait, Koban, make sure.
Mliangalia tena kwa list. Oh wow.
Jerome, we were doing church history, and Jerome is one of the church fathers, people who helped the church put, doctrine. So one of the names was mentioned was Jerome.
Again. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember whether we had extra names. So in case others show up, but it's interesting. Yeah. Hiyo ilikuwa commercial.
Na kukuwa na mvutano. The wife wants this one. You want this one.
There's a name Rehab wanted. I don't know how we haven't. She accuses me that niliikataa. I don't remember nikiikataa. She wanted an Ezra somewhere, because Ezra was a teacher of the word. I think for me it was that Michael Hosea kind of situation. I was like, it's not a bad name, but I don't feel it's for our time. So anyway, Macharia, Tugi, Koban, Jerome.
Oh wow, beautiful names. I think kuna mtu kwa audience, our viewers wameiba majina. Msiseme hamjapata. Kama
bora tu ni quote.
Give credit where it's due.
Wengine hapa.
Give credit where it's due. So Aizo, tuambie sasa, where did Pastor Aizo grow up? Yes, where you schooled, hiyo yote. Kahistory kadogo.
Sawa. I hope whatever I say here is not going to be used against me in a court of law.
No, it will not.
Anyway, I grew up in Kahawa West Estate. Siku zenye Kahawa West Estate ilikuwa estate. Yeah, because I took a drive there just the other 2 days ago. I was like, okay, kume change. Our family, we came to Kahawa West Estate in 1982. I think, so that time it was a brand new estate. There are all this surrounding Jua, Congo, like those ones, those were uko tuliko tunaenda adventure kama utakubalishwa, because that's a wilderness.
Or bushes and whatever.
Kabisa. Nyangaus and all those kinds of things. It was just a bush. Anyway, so the estate itself, I think if my memory serves me well, I think we were maybe 3 to 5 families only. Yeah. Like there was yo estate ilikuwa tu brand new kabisa. The market did not have any occupants. the stall za Mako zilikuwa
Hizo
tu
zenye
open.
ni stall
Hizo ni
saizi.
stall saizi zilikuwa too open, so you could actually see Roysa from west, because even all these high rises in all these gorofas in Githurai Zima, they were not there. Kuna mali ungesimama west ungeona Roysa kwa highway huko tugari tukipita huko. But anyway, that's where I grew up. All my life until I got married. I moved out of Kahawa West in 2010 after getting married. Nata si kuhama ya ukweli. Nikia mombi. Ile tu attachment issues. Yeah. But I have seen the metamorphosis of Kahawa West, and I have seen Jua come up, Congo, all this. That's where I grew up. I went to school in Marion. In my formative years, kindergarten or nursery, primary school up to class 6. Yes, and then moved to Kahawa Primary. That's where I did my KCPE.
Okay.
Yes, class of 94. Then moved from there. I went to Kanunga High School here in Kiambu. 4 years. Yes. After that, did marketing in Kenya Polytechnic. Yes, but my dad is a businessman, so we had a family business. I joined in. Yeah, that's maybe as far as education is concerned. I later on did pursued a degree in theology, but that's later, after sensing God's call in my life. But that's pretty much part of my education journey.
I haven't heard you mention siblings. Do you have any?
Oh yeah. I am a firstborn among 4 boys. Isaac, and then my brother Jimmy, and then there's another one called Morosho, and then there's Kamenya. Yes,
The famous
Kamenya
Kamini. That name is very, very well known.
Yeah, he's our last born.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe he's much known in some of my circles because when I joined Bapo, he was in primary school, and he also joined with me. So we have a lot of common friends, and especially as far as church is concerned.
Yeah. By default. Awesome.
Yeah, but
Okay. Up until now, in Form 4, are you saved at this
No.
point? Not yet? Nauliza not yet
Sasa
ni kama it's a matter of urgency.
tumeingia kwa salvation story. Because sasa hapo
Hebu sasa
kuna
tuambie at
transition
what
hapo.
point.
So I grew up in a family that was conscious about God. My mom was a believer. We used to go to a church in my mom was a Pentecostal, and we used to go to a church in first of all it was in Kiamombi, and then she was later transferred as one of the leaders to Kamai. Kamai was still there. But it's different from
Not
the
as
Kamai.
developed right now.
It was the Kamai for then was a ghetto, but ushagoish. You know.
I understand. Iko na hiyo vibe bado.
Hey,
To date. That vibe is
so
still there.
anyway, so my mom it's transferred there, so we moved with her. So we used to walk from Esto up to Kamai. Grew up in that church. So I didn't feel like a non-saved person in primary school. But when I went to high school, I remember I reported to school on a Tuesday in Feb as a Form 1. And on that Sunday, the first Sunday, I remember walking to the front to give my life to Christ. Not as a matter of conviction, so to call it, but as a matter of, I've never done this. I've never, like I wanted a place where I can say the journey has started.
Yeah.
Not because I felt terrible or anything, but I was just like, hey, here's an opportunity to say, to even quote a date.
I got born again on
February 10th or something. And I joined the Christian Union, served in church, was in the choir, And then me and my friend called Sammy, who was in Form 2, we realized that kids in the staff quarters never went to church. So we requested one of the teachers whether we could, on Sunday morning when people gather for church, we could actually be going to, after the Sunday gathering, the parade, when people now go to church, we go to the staff quarters pick the kids the teachers who will be comfortable, take them to the biology lab, do a lesson with them for maybe 30 or so minutes, then take them back, then join the rest. So form 1 I was saved. Form 1 nakumbuka nilikuwaga wa Yesu. Kabisa nilikuwaga wa Yesu. Then form 2. Second term. Form 2 first time nilikuwa nimeokoka.
Bado ulikuwa wa Yesu.
But I remember when we opened school in May, I just made a radical decision to walk away from the Lord. In fact, even my fellow students, my classmates were shocked. So they're like,
Radical decision.
Like
there's no background story.
Yeah, I was not offended at God or anything. I just decided,
maneno staki.
Yeah, so
wow.
I started, and even my friends my classmates who are not believers themselves were a bit uncomfortable with my decision because they're like, what if I see you? Because we had a CU meeting. We had a CU meeting every weekday from 6 to 6:30 for prayer before preps. You know, so unafaa kuwa si wewe wachani hizo story
kanyagia.
Yeah. But I remember that's when my journey away from God began, and you know, it ended like that. This is 90, because I was in form 2 in 96 until 2004 when I have a very radical experience, salvific experience. So those were 8 years?
8 years, yeah.
Yeah, 8 years of, you know, just
living life.
Yeah, just walking away from God. I had always been God conscious. Even in my walking away from God, I've never been you know, atheistic in thinking or anything. Nikajua tu Mungu yuko, lakini ni sare.
Si serious.
Ni sare. Wewe ni mpoa, wewe niko sawa to God. Yeah. So I was just and I used to come, by the way, I used to go to Bapo once in a while. That's why even when I got saved, I just came straight to Bapo. But this was like once in I don't even know, maybe 10 months or something. Ile tu mara moja tu, nani kama sijawasha sato. But definitely kama sijawasha sato, nimekuja kurepent. Zile za miezi 10 zimekuwa nianzia fresh. And I used to come to church like 10 minutes. Hizo siku nakumbuka service kulikuwa na service 2, 9 to 11 and I think 11:30 to, so ya pili kwa sababu ilikuwa Kiswahili service, I wasn't interested in it. I used to come for the English service. But ni church unakuja 10:50. Unakaa huko nyuma tu ile tu. So it wasn't even anything to do with experiencing God or anything. But anyway, now when I got saved, it was different, because I remember I came to church mapema like 30 minutes before service, nikapata base. I was excited. Yeah, but I had a very my salvation story is very Niger.
Iko na mathematics mob.
It's a very, very dramatic, because by the time I'm getting saved in June 16th, 2004 on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. I am something different. I'm messed up. I'm into drugs. I am dealing with fake money. I'm just something else. Relationship, all significant relationships. You know, relationships with the people that matter. Parents, key people in your life, all messed up. You know, mzae tulikuwa tukiongea we were just having functional conversations. Not relational conversations. Mzae anakuongelesha akikupatia responsibilities. Including hiyo siku niliokoka. We had an extension, house I stores na kwa an extension, and that extension ilikuwa inarentiwa. It was rented out. So ule msa alikuwa napo hapo alikuwa amehama. So mzae leaves me with an instruction, niambia hiyo nyumba nataka uioshe vipoa, so that anyone who is interested in a house comes and finds something that is in order. So I wash it, I panguza it vizuri. I used to smoke weed by this time, and many other things, alcohol, veve, whatever. Taka tu mingi. So that time I had weed. So I finished my work, and I leo bangi ya leo itashikia juu ya mabati. So I climb up. Nikaburura bangi yangu ikaisha. So I come to the house, and it's almost lunchtime. So I'm hitting some food, and I switch on the gas, and I remember I was warming some kamokimo. So nimerusha to onions and you know. Then as that happens, a voice, I just hear a voice tell me kuisha wewe.
Exact words.
Yeah. So I'm having this conversation with this anonymous voice, and I'm like, oh, so kuisha wewe. And it's like somebody has opened the gate and they're coming and they have something they're coming to me with, but ni imefichwa. Nikashindwa we bange za leo. I mean nimekuta bange miaka kadhaa, but leo. So the first thing I did ni kuzima gas. But the voice is not going away. In fact, the person is even now coming close. Sasa ametoka kwa gate, amefika kwa mlango. Nikajiambia hapa kitu poa ni kupiga shawa baridi.
Zishuke kidogo.
Leo, zao shika lakini hazijainitishia.
Wow.
So I take a shower, but I took a very dramatic shower. Interestingly, I was alone. Mother alikuwa, because mother was a housewife, but alikuwa ameenda kwa mother fulani hapo nje. Alikuwa na grocery na alikuwa anapiga kagetheri, so walikuwa hapo nje, but I was all alone. I took a shower without locking the bathroom door. Nilikuwa tu nimeirudisha tu. Now when I got into the bathroom, I messed up things because when you look at bathroom ni kadogo. Now nasikia ni kama huyo msee sasa ako hapo nje. In fact nilitoka bafu kiotero sana, niliipiga buti. Unajua na masabuni juu hata huwezi funga macho. So anyway, I wipe up and then I go. I thought I'd be safe in the sitting room because it's big, so na nikakaa mahali kama hapa mahali penye naona room yote. Immediately I sat down, the voice changed. It became friendlier.
Okay.
It now moved from threatening to more of an embrace, more of a conversation. And the voice tells me, you see, your life is not safe. You know that if anything should happen to you now, you would be separated from me forever. Now, me forever, that sounds like God. But nimechanganyikiwa because in my thinking, Mungu hawezi niongea na mimi nikiwa venye kwa ile state niko. Mungu ongeangi na watu wako mashada. Nenda ujisort, and you've had this, if you've done evangelism, I'm sure you've met people who are messed up and they're thinking, mimi na jamii kwanza niko na maneno. Wacha kwanza niende there are things I need to put in order. It was just very counterintuitive that I was talking to God. But God, and then God tells me, I love you. I know you, I love you. I care about you. Sasa hiyo mimi hata nimeanza kulia. I remember I just told God, Lord, because now, you know, now I'm not even sure whether I'm talking to God. Bado niko katika hiyo harakati ya ni hallucinations. I just remember telling God, Lord, if it is you, save me. Yeah, if it is you, just save me. Because now the mood has changed. Katika hiyo harakati, mother walks in. All right? I just ran directly to her, knelt and lifted up my hands and told her, Mom, I want to get saved. Mother akachanganyikiwa kuniliko. Because she's wondering, I left you 10 minutes ago. There's nothing in the house that looks evangelistic. It's not like I was watching a TV. Like this is too random. And I'm crying and it's urgent. Hey, Mom, nataka kuokoka. In fact, I spoke to her in Kikuyu. Mami, nidreda kuhonoka. So my mom alichanganyikiwa mpaka hata hakuniombea. Akatoka kwanza akaenda hiyo best yake. Went for the friends, so they came, led me into a salvation prayer. And I just felt different. All right. So we had our boys' room was just outside. So I go into our room. My brother, the one who follows me, and I were real hip hop heads. Look to a hip hop. We used to buy hip hop magazines, read them, and then get the picture. So our room is all these photos on the walls. Tuko na katenje hapo, of course, ufa ile ya mtungi iko chini ya bed mahali. So I'm in the room and the conversation continues.
Or with this voice.
Yes. Now I am more confident. I feel more confident now that I am actually talking to God.
Okay.
Yeah, I am almost now sure I'm talking to God. So I have questions for God. I ask God, so God, now I am saved. Yeah, I don't have any friend who is a believer. I know people who are saved, but they're not my friends. They're not even we have not. I know them from afar, but we're not friends. I am messed up. I am addicted to all these things, drugs, and my life is like so. I am like, so how is it going to be moving forward? Look at just where I am. Nimekaa tu kwa bed. All these photos,
The stickers,
za watu wa hip hop, our days. Akina Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. Many others. We loved underground artists. Wale wase tulikuwa watu wa hip hop sana. Tenje sayo ime bru, and then God again in his good voice tells me, don't worry, I'll sort you. And then he asks me, the question I remember God asked me is, do you want to stop those things now? Do you want to stop smoking? Do you want to stop drinking alcohol? Do you want to stop? Of course, I said yes. So I was lying on my bed with my like this. So niko kwa bed, so ni flat, so nimekaa tu hivi. So God tells me, stretch your legs. Niloambia story ni naija. God tells me, stretch your legs. As I stretched my legs, I was going through deliverance. It's like, you see this was pushing stuff out. This was pushing demons out. Cause zile vitu mnaonaga kwa TV watu wana make fun. I went through those things. But no, this was self deliverance, if I may call it so. Hakuna mtu ananilead in prayer, hakuna mtu
amekushikilia mkono,
hakuna mtu ananiambia repeat this. As I stretched my legs like this, deliverance was happening. Something, vitu zinaninyonga, alafu nikaanguka kutoka kwa bed mpaka chini. Pop! Madhe ameniombea 5 minutes ago. Tuko wawili kwa compound. Kidogo anasikia anapiga manduru
kwa room.
So Madhe comes running. Finds me waking up. Sayo mimi nasikia ni kama it's like I'm 2 kg. I felt light, I felt awesome, I felt wonderful, I felt new. My mom is shocked. She's asking me, nini? Namwambia mom, ni demons have gone. Ananiuliza demons za nini? So nikaanza kumexplainia one by one. Now my mom knew I did a lot of things. My mom, of course, my mom even though I never did those things at home. But if you drink, you come. I mean, there was my mom knew I drank, even though ajainiona ati tu. Hakuna mali ataniona anyway, because when I club na yeye. I mentioned a couple of things, but venye nili mention bangi, hapo akachora line.
Umefanya hizo zote lakini sasa bangi.
I think she was comfortable with alcohol.
Every other thing.
But when jamii nazimention tu random. Ya bangi, ya pombe, ya nini, ya bangi. Hapo kwa bangi akasema, ati bangi. Mungu weka faki nao. Unakuja bangi. Akatoa no. Namuuliza mom.
Nimeokoka.
We should be rejoicing. Yeah. Nikaona akatulia, lakini akaniangalia zile za hii story haijaisha. Anyway, that's just how my journey with the Lord began. Now me, I don't know kuokoka pole pole. Because my shift was very radical. I moved from the club to the pulpit direct. Because I remember I got saved on a Wednesday. Kuna beste yangu fulani alikuwa anaitwa Mose. Mose is slightly younger than me. He's the age mate of my bro. But we lived the same kind of life. Alikuwa ameokoka like either a week or 2 before me. Immediately nikamtafuta. Kusikia nimeokoka, alibambika, akaniambia, by the way, kuna fellow iko leo. So tukaenda, it was in the estate and interdenominational, and the mom was the one leading. So we went, I was there, we were happy. And let me tell you, I couldn't wait for Sunday. God! Nilikuwa nangoja angalia Sunday hivi.
Kwani haifiki?
Friday si achie saa. Like, you know, and then on Sunday I was in church early, happy. Now, the only person I knew I could go to until I got saved is Miano. Because Miano, we grew up in the same estate, although they lived in Court C, we were in X. We were not friends with Miano, but nilikuwa najua Miano ni boy wa church. Na nilikuwa nikienda church once in a while namuona akicheza keyboard pale mbele. Yeah, so I went to the service, I was happy. You know, of course it's different. Sijui mawimbo, sijui, lakini niko tu. And then immediately after service, I walked to Miano. Nikaenda nikamsalimia. Bwana asifiwe. Miano akasema amen. Lakini later on alikuwa ananiambia amen ilikuwa shingo upande sana. Yeah, because alikuwa ananijua. He knew me. He knew me not from my spaces because we don't have the same spaces, but he knew me and he knew I wasn't saved. So now he didn't know whether I was making fun of it.
Yeah, it sounds very...
But nikamwambia, and then he invited me to we used to have a youth Bible study immediately after service those days. So we went, and then your afternoon, there was a home fellowship kwa kina Amo. Yeah, Amo was, of course, quite young. So the person, then ni Heho is his brother. So nikaambiwa kuna fellow karibu, nikasema sawa. Na juu nikiamombi, and we used to live near Green Cottage, I just asked the guys, mkienda si mtapitia tu hapo home. So I went to that youth fellowship. I was excited. But pia nilikuwa nimechanganyikiwa kidogo because the image I had of young saved people was demistic, was wrong, just like many other people.
Yeah.
People think saved people hawana life, hawana, you know, it's just boring, it's just nikukatsika, umekosa options. You know, hiyo siku manze, I felt rebuked because the vibe I found there in the fellowship was very different. Watu wanachongoana. You know, it was just, I was like, how could I have been blinded? You know, alafu kuna mademo warembo. I'm like, haya, God, hawa pia wameokoka.
Wow.
Salvation ndo makeup. Yeah, and that's how my journey with God began, and I was in everything. I was consuming everything. I never waited to be invited into spaces of discipleship and growth. Uko ndani. Wow. Yeah. One story before we transition into the next thing as we lead. I get saved in June. June. Okay? So June, July, August, September. This is just in my 3rd month of salvation. No, August, this interdenominational fellowship in the estate. Wakasema wanaenda mission Kibwezi, so nikasema sawa. Manze kumbe nimeenda na wale wa Kristo wa radical. So we were in the mission field and I wake up in the morning and at 7 and I'm alone. Ile place tulidoze, my boys. Nashinda hadi watu waliamka wakanitoa. Alafu around 8:30 watu wamerudi. Na wanarudi na language yao, walikuwa na language ingine militant. Watu wanabonga tu mavyo wanasema no. We cannot allow the devil to hold the people of God captive. So mimi na try kuvuta hiyo story. Nikauliza nikamwambia. Alafu nikauliza wase mlienda wapi? Wakasema tulienda kuna place tulienda prayer. Nikauliza kwa nini hamkuniamsha? Akaniambia unajua umekoka juzi hizo, so wewe tulia. Nikamwambia hapana, kesho msiniache. Akasema hakuna noma, kesho tunakuamsha. The next morning 5 wameniamsha. Tuende. So nimeamka, tumetoka. Kuna giza. Tunaingia interior kwa vile sijui tunaenda wapi. Ninaanza kujiuliza kama ningedoze tu.
Ningebaki tu kwa kitanda.
So we and then tukatokelezea mahali ni shrine ya waganga. Shrine with paraphernalia like kuna watu kuna images ni voodoo kabisa.
Really?
Yeah, log, kuna watu wamefungwa, there's a log, there's an image of a person like a log and a head, alafu wamefungwa na kamba. So they were explaining to me what is happening. This is somebody who has been amestakiwa huko kwa hii shrine. So hii ni kufungwa. So walikuwa naenda hapo kufungwanisha watu. Na si ati ni watu wanajua. So me too. Yeah. So spiritual warfare, anointing oil, sijui nini. Mimi naomba lakini niko rada. Wamewachawi wakatoka.
Guy.
Anyway, so
waganga huko kwa present.
Hapana, waganga wamefanyia kitu usiku. They don't live there. That's their shrine. So they were there overnight up to sijui masaa ngapi. Wamefanya hizo vitu zao wameondoka. So sisi tumekuja ku undo.
Wameacha vitu zao.
So wameshaacha vitu zao ziko set. Hiyo ni August. September tuko church. Nikasikia nduru za kuamini that there is a group that goes to school sijui ni I'm not part of the group. So I'm not hearing this on an invitational basis. On a fununu. Mimi ni nani?
In church KWBC now?
Yes, okay. It used to be called Soul Builders.
Yeah.
Nikafuatilia nikajua wanatoka date fulani hata sijui wanaenda wapi. Mimi nilitoka hiyo Friday na bag. Friday nimetokea na bag yangu. Wow. Hakuna mtu aliniuliza, tukaingia kwa transport tukaenda tukapiga mission shule inaitwa Bishop Mahene where we used to go with the Soul Builders. We did a mission. Now me, I am on fire, I am excited. One of my captivating thing was my story. I'm just sharing my story. Wow, everybody just wants to hear my story. Kids have loved me. We had I'm telling you, that Friday weekend challenge, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Awesome! Na tukarudi West. Si tulikuwa tunarudi Sunday usiku. So Monday si watu wako shughuli zao blah blah blah. The next Sunday, Mama Gish and Mrs. Mwangi, wife ya doctor, were the leaders. The next Sunday after service, wakakuja wakaniita, Isaac. Wakanipeleka hapo kwa class fulani wakakaa chini. Mmoja tulikaa chini wakaniuliza, who are you? Because they don't know me. It's just my 3rd month of salvation.
And this is you being very active in everything.
You couldn't tell I was not part of Soul Builders. Who are you? Because we saw you in the mission. And so this was not interrogative. Si ati nilikuwa nimechoma. Ni zile za
nani
wapi? Like ulikuja tu kaingiana ni kama that's how I ended up joining Soul Builders. And a couple of years back I was actually leading it with Pastor Kenos.
Anyway. That's a miss scare story iko na drama nyingi hivyo. Una stretch miguu yo.
Yeah, so
wow. I know we've talked about your salvation, but I wouldn't want us to continue to the next bit without mentioning the biggest challenge amongst our youth right now, which is drugs. Let's talk about your drug, the drug, your hizo miaka ulikuwa unatumia madre. How did you get into it? Who got you into it? Like vitu tu, let's just talk about drugs for a minute because we know our target audience. Bado kuna wase wa young na wanapitia hizi vitu daily, every single day.
So what's interesting about this drug thing, in as much as the types of drugs change, the motivations remains the same, mostly cross-generational. Okay? I think if I try to recall my journey, I think it was there was an aspect of wanting to be independent. So when you want to be independent, you also want to introduce some things that you think will define your independence more. So like me, I remember I started smoking cigarettes in college, in my 2nd sem. First sem as a fresher in Kole, Kenya Poly, doing marketing. I
Never go interrupt kidogo. So in high school you didn't do drugs?
No.
After walking away from God?
In high school I was just cheeky.
Even after walking away from God you didn't do drugs?
Yes. I didn't do drugs. In high school I didn't do drugs.
Okay.
In high school I was just cheeky and but I didn't do stuff that that was bad, so to use that word.
Okay.
So it's in
College.
post high school now. I go to Kole.
Okay.
And then now there's a sense of independence because uko peke yako unajipeleka shule unajirudisha, which is a big deal. And even in the first initial 5-6 months or so in Kole, it was just normal Kole life. And then one of those days I just decided, what if I started smoking? Looks cool.
What if?
Yeah.
Inifuaka
tu fake.
No, wait, how you started smoking is Hakuna mtu alikupatia ati
Hapana,
shika
hakuna mtu
try.
alinipatia.
What
Tu
if
ni
you
ile tu-
started?
Yes. In fact, some of my college mates were even shocked. Naambia, hey, umeweza kuvuta fuaka, umeweza kuvuta kapela hapa. Anyway, so I start and then now in college you have some bit of freedom.
A lot.
Your day is not governed per se, so like on Saturdays, because I used to do evening classes Monday to Friday, but then on Saturday it was half day, 8 to 1, and then you have a full half day. Then and then you discover there's a msemo liko naye high school pia, kumbe anakuaga tao, sijui anakuaga job wapi, so anakuambia lakini mimi fanya job half day, basi tupatane, so clubbing. I used to club. I used to go for jam sessions and all these things in high school, but not to drink and do that. Hiyo ilikuwa tu ni ngoma. Hapana, haikuwa siku. Reggae ilikuja baadaye. Reggae inakuja time naokoka. Mimi was a hip hop head. Reggae nimeanza kuembrace reggae by the time nakuja kuokoka, because a friend of mine was a reggae enthusiast. I was so shocked. Anajua ngoma zote, anajua wase what akona history. It was just interesting to listen to his stories, and then he invited me for reggae once.
Usikize message.
Yes, and I was like, oh, it's not as bad as people say, because mimi nilikuwa najua watu wa reggae ukienda huko ni vita. Of course, but
peace and loving.
Yeah, anyway, but my journey just began, and then one thing leads to another, leads to another. You're taking 2 cigarettes a day, and then the next thing you're buying half a packet. By the time I'm getting saved, it's crazy. Nakumbuka tulikuwa tunaenda reggae na Vivi, nilikuwa navuta pako ya fegi moja in one night.
Pack.
A pack.
Zinakuanga 12.
Zinakuanga 20.
20.
Fuaka mbao. Nikishika veve na veve yangu, mimi nilikuwa napendaga veve yangu yenye imetoka Meru. Tulikuwa tunaingoja tao base fulani na hapo Luthuli na hapo nyuma. Inakuja ile ya pickup. Tumeingoja hapo. Fresh. Imekaa my friend, bado matawi zina anyway, we buy, so you buy it as a package. Una buy fig, una buy nini, una buy tools, resources. Manze, unajua nakumbuka hiyo morning hiyo umevuta ukikoholea a white kitambaa hivi you actually see brown because of tar, because figi moja ikiisha hiyo ndio inawasha hiyo nyingine. It was just anyway.
Wow. That's addiction.
Yeah, that's dependence, serious dependence. Alcohol. Sasa nimemove sasa, hata anything that makes you high unaweza kunywa. Unaanza kunywa tu vitu decent. Unakunywa mzinga moja mkiwa watu 10 for like a month. Ukatunywa tutoto. By the time addiction kicks in, unapata mzinga hata uwezi ambia mtu. Mbesa wako unapata tu mkiwa sima nakwambia. Yaani ulikuwa na program na hata uwezi sema, because sasa imefika mahali utaki kushare it.
Watu unaona ni kidogo.
Nalalisha mzinga.
Wow.
Anyway, God is good.
And he delivered you from all of that.
Instant.
Mine
was instant.
You did not struggle
Not
with
a
them
journey.
after?
From that kisanga,
Yeah,
I never went back to anything. I never had a craving.
Even the zinaitangwaje, withdrawal symptoms?
Hakuna.
Nothing. Wow.
That's why niliwaambia.
It was fast.
It was just
It was
radical.
very
Hiyo ni juni upako. It's not your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can only be God. I think God was like, apana wewe.
Let me deal with you.
Let me deal with you. Let me make you as an example. So over time I've met a lot of people, because that people's journeys are different. Yeah, but mine was instant, radical, and just pop. I used to love pool. I still do once in a while. I've played pool to the national level. I was good those days. So that was also part of my, part of gambling. My gambling journey was pool dens everywhere in Tao, wapi. I remember there's a casino a casino in town wanted to form a team of pool players that it would sponsor to the national tournament. So they put up a tournament over, I think we were like 64, and they were going to take the top 4. The guys who make it to the semis. Yeah, and then our adopters as theirs, give us uniform, give us cue sticks, what, open their space for us to practice. So I ended up as in the top 4. I mean, I was good in it, but now it also comes with its shares of things because you're gambling, moving from one gambling den to the other, one neighborhood. Ukisikia kuna place fulani huko Lang'ata, watu wengi unaenda huko. Ukisikia kuna place fulani Ngong, Banana, sijui wapi. Esto hata gambling. Nilikuwa naingia hivi na watu mtu amerap jina yake. una book game. Kuja kunaandika tu my pool name was AZ. Aizo ANZ. Watu amerap tu jina yake because anajua hapa hii
ni kuchoma. Interesting.
I still shoot pool once in a while. It's one of my ways of relief, but now of course I don't gamble.
Yeah, you do it for fun now.
Yeah, just for fun. I actually have a cue stick in the car.
I thought you wanted to say you actually have a pool table in the house.
Yeah, no, we haven't done it, but we've done a pool tournament as an outreach.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's also a place where you have a lot of non-believers. So yeah, interesting.
So pasi nimesikia ukitaja Kenya Poly, ulikuwa unafanya marketing. You did a diploma?
Yes.
And then you said you did sometime later you did a degree
in
theology.
Yeah.
Ulikuna ukimaliza form 4 you knew you wanted to do marketing?
No.
What was the plan?
I wanted to do, there are 2 things I wanted to do. I wanted to do hairdressing. Yes. But so this is because I cleared high school in 98. So this is late 90s. It has just started to become a thing. Because previously, hiyo ni saloon. Saloon. So that was something for people who are not serious. Right? Sasa story ya cosmetology sasa imeanza kuingia, but it's still not a man's world. Okay?
Yeah.
But I thought this looks like something that was good and it is interesting. I remember I mentioned it to my dad. Unajua mzai hata kuniuliza details. Hata
he wasn't bothered.
Like it was because I'm trying to think on his behalf. It was like next. Yeah. But I saw in and I was like, wow. And that time it was something that looked prestigious. Pivot Point there was a school called Pivot Point that owned walianzisha, and I remember like 2 years after that, a friend of mine who enrolled, they were doing practicals and they were required to bring in real people to do practice on them. So I remember going there and looking around and I was like, I should have been here. Haki, I should have been
this
here.
This is where I belong.
Yeah. And I remember a friend of mine who cleared school 2 years after me. I cleared 2000 and he did that. Ended up opening a beauty parlor in Kileleshwa. I was like, anyway, I didn't do that. The other thing I would have wanted to do was tourism, and it's something to do with tourism because I loved traveling. So I was like, let me see if I can match something with my passion. But those days, schools to do that were scarce. So the marketing idea was actually my dad's idea. It's like, wewe unakaa unaweza, so twende. So tukaenda tukaregister. Na mimi, because of the excitement of college, I wasn't thinking through it. I was like, at least nitakuwa nakuja tao peke yangu, nitakuwa napewa do peke ni zangu. So that just looked like it was a good transition. Otherwise, yeah. I really can't say that I used my marketing prowess to do anything substantial, so to call it. But, my dad was deals in property, so after college, I joined him. He had an office, so I used to be the one there, like his admin assistant or something. Yeah, but marketing later on. So nasamanga haikukuwa wastage. Saizi na marketing kingdom ya Mungu.
Kabisa.
Buzz.
Kingdom of Songs.
Buzz.
Umefikiria kuimba?
Yeah, tulimba. I was part of the worship team. Kuimba usanii. Maybe nikitoka hapa nitatoa kanda.
Tutakuwa na studio unaweza kuja kurekodi.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's get into how you got into ministry. So far we've had how you were part of you call it soul what?
Soul Builders.
Soul Builders.
Yes.
You've done intermissions with the interdenominational fellowship in
Yeah.
Esto.
Yeah.
Now, at what point were you like, now ministry is what I want to pursue?
Actually, it is now later on that I actually realized that when God saved me, He saved me and called me immediately, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because my mindset then was, in fact, when I got saved, I had this mindset of God ataninyoroshia vitu. Vitu zangu zitaenda poa. You know, I'm thinking success. So I got, and there are three things that God told me on the day I got saved. He says, one, I will change you. All right? Number two, He's told me, I will use you. And number three, He said, I will take you to places you've never been. Those three things have remained act in my mind. Kutoka hiyo siku nilikuwa naokoka, I will change you, and I really needed to be changed.
You changed.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I can say I have been changed. I'm not who I used to be. I will use you. You know that first of all that I didn't even know how to understand. Aje sasa. Mimi unanitumiaje? You know, but of course now over this is what 2004 to now 21 years.
21 years later.
21 years later.
Wow.
I mean, there are stories of how God has used me. And then I'll take you to places you've never been before. Hiyo ndio nilikwamilia.
You're like checking.
Unaka program poa hiyo ndio nilikwamilia. So ndakupatia job, you know those so June, this is June. End of December, there's nothing success. Sijapata job, hakuna kitu ati sina income, you know, so kidogo nikaanza kuwa frustrated, naambia Mungu, kuna commitment ulimake lakini
sioni
kuna vile you know. Then God again speaks to me and tells me, I wasn't talking to you about jobs and I was talking to you about serving me.
Oh God.
I was like, hapana, hebu mtu amwambie. Mtu amwambie. Juu asijui kama anajua mimi ni nani. Ni kama amesahau. Juzi tu hapa, you know. So now this is 2005. I begin to feel pregnant with something. There's something in me. I can't explain it. I can't. Actually remember one CBN service nilikuwa na preach. Na kuna one of the co-leaders tulikuwa naye CBN ni Mary Susan. You know Mary Susan, Emsu.
Oh wow.
Emsu brother one of his brothers was my good friend. Na tulikuwa tunafanya vituko na yeye. So Emsu knew me before. When I got saved, Emsu of course she was really encouraged that if God has saved me, He can also save my brother.
Yeah.
But Emsu alikuwa because Emsu saw my acceleration in spiritual growth. And she just couldn't believe it. I remember in that CBN service, Emsu alikuwa amekaa nyuma kabisa. And in the whole of that service, Emsu alikuwa amenizubaia. She couldn't take her eyes off me. At some point I was disturbed. Anyway, after service nikamuuliza. So ile tu tunakacha. Nikamwambia, by the way, Emsu,
Ulikuwa unanicheki.
I realized
Mbona ulikuwa una stare?
And Emsu was like, you know, I just can't believe. I can't believe it. Because nakuja ukikuja home, na ulikuwa unakuja home ukichukua na Johnny, najua tu hizo ni vituko mmeenda kufanya. Like how did this happen? This is just like a year.
Yeah.
Now you're preaching before teens, like oh my God. Anyway, and I remember telling Mary Sue, even me, I can't explain it, but I'm pregnant. I feel there's something inside of me. Anyway, so we committed to pray. Now from there, I now began to be focused on, I need to know what God is leading me to. I became now a bit more conscious to something that God was calling me into. It's still not very clear. By end of 2005, Wadi. You guys know about Wadi, Word of Life.
Yeah, Kebete.
Wadi has a short time. We did camping there because akina Miano immediately introduced me to Wadi. Kuna kwa na camp, so
Yeah.
tulikuwa tunaenda kuka counselors. I learned there was a short time Bible school there. I inquired about it. I talked to Miano. Miano was very instrumental in my spiritual growth in terms of follow up and discipleship and just throwing me into some two spaces. So he said, "Hey, but join." So in 2006. January, I joined Wadi for the short-term Bible school, which goes from January to beginning of May. So I was there. It's an interesting. It's a mashup of biblical training and also hands-on ministry. That's there. That's when I felt like my one foot is into something now. All right, but by the time tunamaliza, I was like, this is not sufficient. Like ni kama mtu anataka kufanya computer science lakini ameanza na packages.
Yeah, you're like sasa in introduction.
Nimeanza lakini sijafika. I was like, what I have done is good. I feel it's given me some. Now it's almost very clear that God is calling me into something. So tumemaliza May. I made a prayer. I told God, Lord, between now and the end of the year, please, just the way you umekuwa ukiniongelesha nini, I want you to make it very clear to me what you are calling me into, please. Yeah. And that happened. By the time we are doing 2006 December, it's very clear God is calling me into pastoral ministry. So I start looking for a school for theology. I go to several, and then I end up choosing Park University. So 2007 January, I start my degree training. By then, it is obvious to everyone within my circle, including the church, that God amekukola. So I didn't struggle to convince deacons or anyone. People were so happy. They were like, go for it. Yeah, so that's how I start my theology training. And of course, now Bapo is my training ground.
Yeah.
The church recognizes that I am a trained theologian, so I'm preaching in services. We're in the Set Free Camp. We are doing, CBN, and then the missions in Soul Builder. So I'm fully serving. Kitu sina ni title tu. Mi bado ni aizo. But I'm doing, Pastor Mwaneki then invites me into his office. We are having ministry conversations. Pastor the late Reverend Giga comes in. We're just doing everything.
So you served in Baptist?
Yes, I served. Bapo was my forming. That was my forming ground. That's the place that God used to mold me and to confirm my calling and build networks from there. I am forever grateful to Bapo. They embraced me with no reservations. Ended up even supporting my theological education when I applied, paid my fees. Fees ikaongezwa, nikawaambia tena, wakaongeza. Fully involved in all my life in those. I never felt like I was neglected or anything. And I'm thoroughly discipled through all the different steps of discipleship. Missions. By the time I was leaving, I was leading the evangelism team. We did missions in several places. I
Shout out to
Umeanza una reminisce.
Nostalgia. Sasa mumeanza kunifungulia mafiles. And we've remained friends with all these people. Every time I come, I have to look for Miano, sit down, have conversations. Remember, because now Miano has had a front seat in my life. Ni tu popcorns tu anakulaga tu akiona because every major step, in my transition, getting married, him and Pastor Kenos were in the lineup. Every step of the way. And it's been awesome.
It's been awesome.
So by that time, 2010, I'm graduating in November. So I go to Park, I meet Rehab. I'm transitioning now into go to Park, meet Rehab.
Pia nafanya theology.
Nafanya theology. And I had made a prayer when in terms of getting a wife, a girlfriend then. I was like, first of all, I want somebody who is a serious believer. Unajua kuna watu believer inakuwa tu ni katitle. But I was like, God, I want somebody who has an active, evident relationship with you. But secondly, I want somebody who is active in ministry. I don't want to get hooked up to someone who ministry conversations will be an inconvenience to them. Nikiongea story ya missions, nikiongea story ya kuserve God, inakani kama, hey, you are so into this thing. And so when we started interacting with Rahab, she started taking one box after the other. Yeah. So in 2007, at the end of our first year, mimi nikamark territory yangu. I told her.
Mlikuwa same class?
We were in the same class.
Okay.
Intake was in September. So yalianza September, mimi nilikuja January intake. So I was just like a semester behind, but you catch up. Yeah, so tukaanza kuongea, and she was always very interested with my ministry stories, including the salvation. She was like, wow, you just got saved 3 years ago, and you're in Bible school,
and you've done all that,
and you look like you have been in ministry all this, because mimi ninakwambia nilitoka huku
ukapelekwa ile side nyingine.
So get into a relationship, surround ourselves with very good mentors, people who helped us in our walk, introduce each other to the significant people in our lives, parents, mentors, So we start a journey, and then we realize, since both of us are students, we can't get married now. It wouldn't make sense. None of us has an income, so let's see how things unfold. In 2010, graduation is happening in August. In April, her church gives her a pastoral position. Sasa hiyo inarusha kandimu kwa relationship yetu, because you're like, so what happens? We were planning to get married in November. What happens after that? Who joins who? Meanwhile, I'm still in Bapo serving, but we don't have an agreement. Ati nikimaliza shule wananichora job, and I'm not entitled to it. I'm not. It's not unwritten. Of course, I was like, if an opportunity opens up, I would really love to serve here, But Sareha memepewa, So we are asking all our mentors, what should we do? And no one seems to have any solution for us.
Yeah.
Mwingine anasema, now we had a prayer with Rahab. We said, we will not serve separately.
Okay.
We can't serve separately. We will serve together. Wow. So she was in Deliverance Churches, so she's already, So we're like, okay. Anyway, so at the end by the time we're getting married, we've agreed. We said, you know what? Bapo has embraced me, done everything, but I'm willing to join you in DC. So we agree that after we get married, now I transition out of DC. So we go to DC. DC is also a wonderful church, embraces me, recognize my calling. I'm doing everything, but I wasn't on staff. And for 2 years, I served in the pastoral team. The only thing is, I was not drawing a salary from it. Meanwhile, I'm still doing some stuff in Bapo. I was leading. What is this? We used to have something for what was Malza High School immediately. Phonic. I was leading Phonic. So I think every Tuesday or Friday, twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday, Niko Bapo. Discipling all these young guys, and then go home in the evening. So I'm still involved in but Sunday Niko DC. Until now, I eventually handed over everything to do with Bapo, and now joined Rahab in 20, and then 2 years now they bring me on staff, and we serve there for 5 years until the opportunity for church planting in Chapel comes in, and we transition to Uganda.
So you get married in 2010?
2010 November.
2010.
13th.
You joined Deliverance.
Yes.
So you live.
So I joined DC in January of 2011, because when we got married, Rahab was given leave until beginning of the next year. Yeah. But I come back to Bapo in 2011. One of those months, I can't put a finger to it, but I requested the leadership, because nilienda tu, so kuna watu wanashangaa hizo alienda wapi. Hizo alienda. So I requested the deacons, the pastors and deacons, to just come back on one of those Sundays to say goodbye. So I preached in both services, and then they prayed over me and they released me. But we kept the relations, because even my daughter, when alianza shule, alikuwa KBA. So I was still a regular in Bapo. I was still a regular in Bapo. Yeah, only that ministry stations changed.
So now 2012, you exit deliverance? You and your wife?
Not
or
2012, 27. May I exit 2016? My
Oh.
wife exits
Oh, they took you
2017.
in as staff now.
Yeah, they took me in as
2012.
staff 2013.
2013.
2011, 2012, I am not on staff, but I'm in the pastoral team. I'm doing everything. I'm preaching, I'm serving communion, I'm doing everything. The only thing is I'm not drawing a salary from the church.
Yeah.
But beginning of 2013, now church leadership says we feel we can have you on board. So now I've become the youth pastor. My wife used to do youth and children. But by this time it's grown, so let's have it separate. So Rehab does children, I do youth, and we do that up to 2016 when the opportunity for church planting comes in. So I left earlier. My wife remained because she did not need to make the transition immediately, because the transition to Uganda was not immediate. There was a training session for church planting. So Rehab did not have to leave DC at that time. But now the family now moved into Kampala beginning of 2017.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay. How did you land the job at Nairobi Chapel?
So I've done youth ministry. Mimi nilianza youth ministry, immediately I got saved.
Yes.
Remember I've just told you how.
Yes,
So we've
you
done
did.
all this teens ministry, what tumefanya hizi vitu zote. So I was in youth ministry for long. Right? 2016 I begin to develop this dissatisfaction. I feel it's time for something new. But I don't know what it is again. Yeah. So anyway, resigned from Bapo, from DC, and tell God, nionyesha the next thing, which I don't know. A couple of months later, I begin to ask myself, hapa ni kama nilijicheza hapa, because there's nothing coming up, you know. And then I almost begin to warm up to going back to youth ministry, but that dissatisfaction is divine. Hapa najua tu nikirudi ninarudi ni circumstances, sio wili ya Mungu. So I meet two pastors. One of the pastors, when he met me, he told me I'm supposed to meet 3 pastors, and then from the 3 I choose. But nataka tu nikwambie ukweli, hata kabla nimitao wengine wawili, wewe jua tu ni wewe. I'm going to meet them formally because
I'm expected.
To do that, and I'll give a report. But my heart is already
settled.
And they gave me a good deal. Mpaka nishino Mungu sasa hizi. But inanirudisha wapi? Youth pastor.
Yeah.
DC bado.
Hapana.
No.
It was actually a Baptist church. Then the second one was now a chapel church. The pastor we meet, and he tells me, I'm told you are free. My youth pastor has just left. We can work together. So we sit. And then he asks me, ulikuwa unalipwa how much DC? I told him. Kaniambia sawa. When he listened to me, now this, I came to learn this later. When he listened to me, and he knows me because he was one of my lecturers at Park. He taught me a couple of units.
Oh.
So ananijua na anajua Rehab.
Okay.
Ananiambia venye. So I came to later learn that he says, when he listened to my story, he was like, huyu nikimleta youth pastor kwa church yangu na mwest.
Why?
Because that's, I am, quote unquote, bigger than that.
Oh.
I'm like, huyu nikimleta atafanya kazi lakini itakuwa tu ni kumwest. So you know what he did? Alienda akanishtaki kwa church, kwa missions coordinator wa Nairobi Chapel. Akasema, I have a guy. Unasikia mnatafuta mtu wa Kampala? I have a guy. Mi sijui hizi stories ni behind the scenes. So I receive a call from that pastor. He says, where? And he says, I need to meet you. It's urgent. Where are you? Uko wapi sasa inakuja hapo? I was attending a conference at All Saints ya Manina. Yeye ndo anakam. Na mimi namjua ni mkubwa, ni senior. Nashanga hizi ni gani? Kwani nimedu? So anyway, he comes and he tells me, I know you guys. You don't know me very, but me I know you, and I know your wife Rehab. Na interestingly, tulikuwa tunasoma na wife yake Park.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, he says, listen, we are planting a church in Kampala, and you and Rehab are the right people. Yeah. You have the capacity. Jamaa, jamaa alikuwa na faith kuniliko. Now me, I was looking for something different, but church planting internationally was just umetoa mtu swimo inamfika hapa, umemtupa deep end, ujampatia floater na hakuna life saver. I was like, that's just too radical. Hii hata kama ni imani hapana. But inside me something leaped. I was like, here is something that I must do by faith and by God's help. This is not something I can do by experience, by networks, by hapa sasa ndio hii ni Mungu. So like a good husband, I told him, let me go and talk to my wife.
Visa.
Let me console.
I remember sharing it with Rehab, and Rehab was like, whoa, okay. So tunakaa tunasema tufanye hivi. Unaona ile ya kwanza ya youth pastor tuichukue 3 years.
Yeah.
You know? So we are just trying to put, but inside me, I think nilikuwa nisha click. This is it.
What. Yeah.
So we said yes. And of course now, put on training for 6 months, initiated in the ministry DNA and things like that. And then October 2016, I now moved to UG, alone first.
Alone.
October, November, December were more of laying the ground, and then church begins in 2017. And that's now when my family also moved into UG. Yeah, but it was overwhelming. It was overwhelmingly huge. Yeah, but 8 years down the line, we are celebrating our 8th-year anniversary in March. We normally do our anniversary celebrations in March because we started church mid-Feb. By January, we still haven't gotten a venue, so we started in mid-Feb, and we find that's not a very... Anyway, we do our celebrations first Sunday of March.
Okay.
So it's going to be 8 years!
Wow.
Hey! Even me, wow.
You
I'm
never
telling
saw
you.
it. At that time, you did not expect it.
Ndio hiyo God alikwambia atakupeleka
Yeah.
places.
Ndio
you've
hiyo.
never seen.
Ndio hiyo na vitu zingine. I mean, I've traveled a bit, and
For ministry.
all of it is ministry related. Everywhere I have gone, I could say it's a significant destination. It's ministry related. Sijaenda huko kuomba kura.
So hata Eugene just scratching the surface.
And our transition there was because I didn't know anyone in Uganda. I wasn't sent with a team.
That you've actually had an Ugandan accent in that.
I put a disclaimer.
Wapenzi
watazamaji, niliwaambia.
Nimesikia so well.
Mukisikia ka
Kampala.
Kampala. Sebo. We didn't move with a team. Let me tell you.
It was just you alone first, and then Rehab joined.
Recently, I was somewhere and I was telling them, serving God requires a level of madness. Ukiwa msoba sana na vitu za Mungu, hautafanya vitu. If you want to reason out, kuna uwazimu fulani inanidika ya imani. Because right now is when I understand, lakini hizi ni vitu gani nilikuwa nafanya? You know, because it was just a radical. You're moving in a country, you don't know anyone, you don't know anyone. You're not.
Country.
Yeah, it's a different country. The culture is different. The language is different. Of course, they speak English, but it's English and Luganda. You don't know anyone. Unajua mimi nilikuwa napiga raundi hiyo church venye tulipata venue yetu. So my missions coordinator here, my boss here, tells me there's a friend of mine who we used to be with. We served God in our days of the youth. Anakuaga Uganda. I can talk to him. Aku host ukifika before upate footing. So he connects me to that guy. So that guy lives in a place like Kasarani from Nairobi. Okay? So atani host October, November na December because I don't need a place of my own there. He was a management consultant. He's a Kenyan, but his family is back here. They just live here in Membli. So for those 3 months, so he's the one who is in between Kampala and Nairobi.
Yeah.
Na kona hao 2 bedroom ya pili ya inaga mtu because his family visits him like once a year. So akona bedroom hapo na, and anyway he says this is good for company. Na kuaga tu hapa peke yangu, so karibu pastor. You know? So he hosts me. Now, when I was sent to Kampala, I was not sent to a specific location. Sikuambiwa enda Ngong Road, niliambiwa pana Pastor Izo. You are the one to map the city. Listen to the Lord. You know? So na mtu anakutuma si ati ni place najua. So unajua nilikuwa nafanya nini? Kasa, niko naishi Kasa. Asubuhi napanda mati naingia tao. Kangemi West naingia. Sijui Kangemi ni wapi, sijui West ni wapi. Nimeingia kwa mati. Inaanza kuenda either nashukia mwisho naanza kutembea tao Kagu but to the main road because sasa nikiingia ndani naingia. Nakuja so kuna route nilikuwa naingia naona ni kama tumeenda mbali. So nashuka naanza kurudi tao. Narudi tao napanda mati ya Kasa. Day 1 imeisha. I'm just listening to God because God you need to direct me where this Day 2 Kasarani Githurai Zimba naingia. Sijui Githurai ni wapi, sijui Zima ni wapi. Nakuja na maybe nafika Mirema naona nashuka. Naanza kutembea tao Kagu. Saa zingine kama ni mbali sana maybe nikifika mahali kama Survey utalii nimechoka naingia mat najua tao. I'm telling you that was my November. That was my mid-October and November. Meanwhile, I have collected numbers randomly. People haya kuna church yetu wananiambia kuna hii namba hebu pigie mse sijui kama alipata church. So you're also meeting random people. Crazy faith. Napigia Tracy simu nakwambia hi Tracy, my name is Pastor Isaac. I'm from Nairobi Chapel. I was given your number by Silas. Can I meet you? Tunapatana tunapiga tu sana unaniambia karibu sana naambia okay so mimi already niko Bapo but if there is any way I can help you let me know. Tuna make two contact hivyo. Some we were taught in church planting we were told something called the big ask. The big ask is actually for fellow believers who are already planted in another church but you ask them to give you like 6 months. Tracy, I need a good worship leader. Na najua niliambiwa una lead worship Bapo. Unaweza wa request wa kuachilia 6 months. Ukuje tu nisaidie tu kule tu even and if you need me to come and talk to Reverend Injairo please nitakuja. Naenda kwa pastor najitetea. Na mama mimi nataka unipatie huo mshirika wako. It's called the big ask. Because you need a mashup of people who are already in ministry and new believers. So crazy things. But there were indicators. You know, kunaweza kuwa ni hard terrain but God also sends you indicators to tell you mimi ndio hii kazi ni yangu. 2 things happened which really gave me some like a serious footing. Nikajua huku hii si kujituma, hii ni God. One was I was given the number of the High Commissioner's wife. Kenya High Commission Uganda.
Okay.
Nimepewa namba yake na pastor fulani mwenye alikuwa wa mavuno na alikuwa amerudi tu Kenya. Ni kama tukienda Uganda na yeye alikuwa na transition back huku. So there's this lady mpigie. Ni mama mpoa sana anapenda huduma, anapenda stories za ministry, mcall. Wife ya High Commissioner sasa unajua huyo si so kidogo na dialogue hapana. Ama namtumie message. One of those evenings one of those mornings I just decide nika message nika draft kwanza unaka save hi ni ya mtaa sana
hello
so you High Commissioner nikaandika kitu na nikamtumia immediately your message imeenda blue ticks amenicall kasema sasa hizo ndio mafikwa sasa
what is this
imeenda kwa PM mtu anashindwa huu ni random anyway nikasema wacha ni pick. Nimepiki hivi mama ako excited. Hello Pastor Isaac. Kuna ananijua. How are you? My God, Nairobi Chapel is coming here. Wow, that's so good. Wow. So when can we meet for coffee? Karibu nimuulize uko wapi saa hii? Wacha nisikae sana. So nikamwambia well I have a few engagements today.
Naona form.
Anyway, we met the following day for coffee. She was happy, excited. She was like, wow, this is so good. I love supporting missionaries. Anyway, she told me, I'm already heavily involved in my church. But if you need anything, please.
Hit me up.
When is your family coming? Your family is coming in January. When they come, please make sure you come and visit us. I'd like to meet them. And she kept on checking on me once in a while. And when we had major events, we would invite her. Nikakaa hivi nikajiuliza mimi mtu wa Kahawa West. Indicator number 1. Indicator number 2, the same pastor called me and told me kuna best yangu mwingine Mkenya anarudi Kenya, amekuwa UG 5 years, anarudi Kenya, anauza vitu za keja. Na sisi hatuko tumehama, vitu zetu zote huku tulikuwa tumeziuza. So when tukienda UG tutabai vitu zingine. So akaniambia kuna best yangu anaitwa Kioko anarudi Kenya na I think anauza vitu za keja juu anajenga na anataka anajenga kwake, akirudi anataka vitu mpya. So ndio hiyo namba yake, bonga na yeye. So one of those Sundays after service ameenda church, alikuwa anaenda mavuno na mimi nilikuwa nimeenda kuvisit church nyingine. He calls me. I mean, I call him and we agree, we meet and we go to his place. He's also very happy. He's like, wow. Yani umekuja kupanda church huku na hujui mtu. You know, so we are catching up. Anyway, after a meal, he takes me around the house, shows me the things. He says, we do not plan to carry anything. We just want to sell off everything because we trust that we can have new stuff. So he takes me around the house, every room. Nice house, 4-bedroom house. And then we agree that he was going to share a price list. Wife yake at that time alikuwa ametravel, amekuja kusupervise mjengo, finishing, so hakukuwa. Akaniambia, wonderful, let me talk to my wife and then we'll get back to you. Hiyo ni Sunday. Tuesday asubuhi namtumia reminder. Hey Kioko, mambo, I hope uko poa, I'm
Price
still
list.
with price list. Ile reply ilikuja. Ikanitetemesha. Hey pastor, how are you? We have decided with my wife we are going to leave you guys everything.
Bure.
Hadi keja.
Wewe acha wewe.
So keja was not ideal because of eventually where we ended up in.
Yeah.
Now, unajua nyinyi hamko na hizo vitu. That's why mko flat. Nyinyi hamko na hizo beds, hamko na screen, hamko na fridge. Hakuna kitu mliona. That's why
tuko tu casual.
Mimi niliona hizo vitu na macho
Umepata house tour.
4-bedroom tena unaambiwa chukua zote.
Kila kitu, everything. It's only 2 seats which they had been given as a gift in a marriage retreat.
Okay.
Which they felt attached to because that was personal.
Yeah, that's sentimental.
But everything. Unajua sisi hatukununua hata kijiko.
Stop. Hata vijiko.
Hata basin. Nothing. It was after like 3 or 6 months wife aliniambia, hey, at least wacha nikanunue vitu hata mimi ni kama niko contribute sana zangu because but we didn't need to buy anything, not kids beds, not basins, not the fridge, not the cooker, not the big screen. Hiyo siku yenyewe God aliniambia, I told you. Nilikushow. Hii ni kazi
yangu. It's for me.
Nishapanga hii kazi.
I called Rehab, I tell her that story. Rehab is like, hey, wacha tu nisema tu kweli, hiyo siwezi amini sahi.
Imani nataka kuwazimu.
So, you know, and many other indicators in the ministry journey that God has just done wonderful things. Yeah, and we have a very interesting church. Our church is multicultural, multilingual. We have a international demographic, majority being Congolese. I don't know how. Which one English is not their first language.
So you can speak French.
Once ile ya kurusha siwezi potea. Ile ya kuomba maji siwezi potea. But we have so our church is very interesting. It is in Uganda. Led by a Kenyan with a majority Congolese.
Yes.
There's a pastor friend of mine who calls my church the UN headquarters. Hey, how is UN? Because we have Nigerians, we have Liberians, and then of course we have Ugandans. We have South Sudanese.
Oh wow.
And it's a youthful church. Our average age is 23.
Oh really?
So it's a very youthful church.
Any language barrier?
In the church, when Congolese come as first timers, yeah, when most of the Congolese, when you now talk to them, I go, hey, you know, the first time I came to church, I liked everything, but too much English.
Hey.
But I never left because those ones who are, you have to survive. It's an English-speaking country, so the only way to survive is to be in English-speaking spaces. And once they get into the space, they don't want to leave. In fact, many of them, their struggle is when they go back home because they're like, you know, our churches are very conservative. We can't get a church like TCK there. You need to plant a church in Goma, which is one of the cities in the east, or Bukavu. Ay, bana, pastor, leteni hii church huko, because sasa tukirudi huko we get disillusioned, we get disoriented, because most of the churches there are not youthful. So just for clarity purposes, I never lost the youthful ministry kind of thing. And I remember a statement that was made by my supervisor back then, Reverend Mike Mudhengi, who is currently leading Nairobi Chapel Imara Daima. Kwa hiyo meeting yenye alinipata ya kwanza, ile aliniambia uko wapi sasa nakuja. He told me, Pastor Izo, I feel like I want to tell you something. I know you've been in youth ministry for a very long time, and it is possible for you to brand yourself as a youth pastor. That's not a bad thing. However, it can limit you because God can bring you opportunities that are not youth pastor appearance. But God is still calling you. So he told me, I'm not asking you to lose your youthfulness. I'm not asking you to lose your youthfulness. But I want you to go to Kampala and I want you to be a youthful lead pastor. Hiyo ilini because nilikuwa naona sasa hawa wananiita kwa nini? Yeah, so our church is a very youthful church. We are a noisy bunch, but we love Jesus.
Noisy.
Kelele takatifu.
Kelele takatifu.
Yeah. 8 years.
8 years.
Almost 8 years.
8 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And now you're assuming, or by calculation, your firstborn ni wa huko.
Yeah,
was born there.
Our two boys are born in Uganda.
Oh, wow.
Amaria is born 2012, so she was just turning 5 when we went. Tugi is a Christmas baby, 25th December. Ni birthday mate wa Yesu. She had just turned 1. Yeah. Koban was born in Uganda. Jerome Koban and Jerome were born Ugandans, but they have Kenyan citizenship because we've applied for it. So yeah, but those are in Uganda.
After their first language.
Kisape. Tuongeangi Kisapere kwa Kenya because sasa tunaongea na nani? Unless tunaongea tu na wife. Na tukiongea Kisapere watu wao wanajuanga tunaongea kitu yenye hatutaki wasikie.
Yeah.
So
the accent.
Yeah. For them, if you listen to them, you will pick these ones. I have been in Uganda.
Even you, like I can count the number of times I've picked up the Ugandan accent, which is amazing.
It's called incarnation. Yeah. But it's been interesting.
So do you Uganda wanna speak
Luganda? Yeah, it's like Swahili.
For
You
them.
hear people speak English and Swahili, so huko ni English and Luganda.
So unaweza bonga hiyo Luganda?
I can communicate, essentials. Because it's also a Bantu language. I'm Bantu, so that there are a lot of shared things. Uganda is an interesting country, and Ugandans really love Kenyans. Kenya, having traveled especially around East Africa, I realize Kenya is really blessed. Yeah, people rank us in a certain way. Our exposure is different. Our work ethic is different. Our enthusiasm to life is different. And those are not things I actually knew before I ventured out. So
unaambiwa utembee ndo uone.
Kosa kutembea utafikiria chapo za kwenyu ndio
unabamba.
Hadi uonjeza mama nani.
We used to we grew up in a home where we did chapos every Friday. Lakini chapo zetu zilikuwa nono. Na mimi sikuwa najuanga. One time nikaenda kwa kina best yangu alikuwa anaitwa Jemo, nikakula chapati za yellow. Zimekwa inaitwa butternut
malenge.
Alafu two carrots.
Yeah.
Nilikula hivi chapo nikasema surely.
Ukikula
Mavi amekuwa kitu poison. Nimetoa tujai dead, lakini either hii ndio chapo ama zetu ndio
chapo,
lakini afadhali hizi. So anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Other plans, do you ever foresee coming back to Kenya, or do you want to expand ministry into other countries?
I want to expand ministry to other countries. We were sent as a sending church. And I think it would be good for us to even do that assignment. I have a heart for Congo now that I wasn't targeting Congolese when I went to Kampala, but eventually that has become our people. So I have developed this heart for those guys because I feel they also need culture defining churches. So as the Lord leads, eventually, if God sees it fit, I have, in my faith journey, I think I have learned not to put everything in a straight line because you just don't know where God will throw you. If it's His will that we return here after whatever period of time, amen. I am also part of a movement. So if my bishop feels led by the Lord to, send me elsewhere, then let His will be praised. Yeah.
Okay.
But the key thing is obedience. Obedience in every. I think that's maybe what I could leave. Anyone who might be in a season where they feel, what's the big picture like? The big picture is a combination of small pictures. Yeah. When God calls us, He never gives us a roadmap. Yeah, anakwambianga toka hapa fika Kamiti Kona. By the time unafika Kamiti Kona utapata instructions zingine. But sometimes unataka upewe instructions za kutoka hapa mpaka Nakuru. And God is like, no, that's not the way. So I've learned to trust God in every season because the outcome is never what you expected. If somebody would have told me 8 years ago that this is where we would be as a church, either niona nanichocha, ile tu una agree tu na yeye tu lakini unaona tu huyu. But beat by God, what do you want me to do in this season? Let me do it faithfully. Then when you look back, you're like, wow, God really is faithful. Yeah, so.
He really had a plan.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Awesome. I don't think I have another question, but I'd really want to have Rehab on set.
Woo!
I'd really want. Is she camera shy? Will she do this?
No. My wife is a mover in herself.
Okay.
My wife Rehab leads a global prayer movement, which is an online movement. So she's on camera every day. They pray every weekday from Monday to Friday, from 5 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. With different ladies from across the world. Majority being from Kenya and Uganda, but really people from Dubai. Once in a while, she has people tuning in from Russia. I mean, there are all these crazy testimonies. She is a pulpit minister like myself. We serve together. We serve alongside each other. So one of these days, I am going to mention this to her, and I'm going to tell her the next trip you're making to Kenya, please know there's a platform where your story will be very
helpful.
Send her this podcast na mwambie watch till the end. Hapa ndo alitajiwa.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
So yeah, because we're just about to go back to Uganda, so we
Actually wanted to ask, unadu nini huku msi?
So nilikuwa nimekam ku rest. We normally come every December just for rest and reconnecting with family. It's part of our calendar break. So every mid-December, because we have some events we finish with in church. Mid-December we come up to mid-January, and because
the whole family.
The whole family.
Okay.
And because our school curriculum starts in Feb. Shule zofunguliwa Feb.
Oh, in Uganda.
So sisi tunapiganga sherehe
vizuri. January you do not know.
Yeah, January
ni holiday bado. December 2.0.
So beginning of Feb is when kids go back to school. So that pretty much works well for us, and that's how I was able to be here.
So when you're in Kenya, you go to Nairobi Chapel?
Sometimes I visit different ministries, but I will do, of course, now fellow chapel pastors will want you to be there. Like this Sunday I'll be preaching in our church in Thika. Last Sunday I was in our Ngong Road. Ngong Road is like our biggest congregation. Yeah, but I am free to just move.
Maybe on the next trip he will preach at KWB.
Yeah,
maybe.
Actually, me no mention that to me. Nikamwambia mkiniambia
Me,
nikuja
let's make it happen.
Mi
Let's just
Miano
make it
akiwatch hizi podcast
happen.
anamamaru akilia. Kila mzee wana mention. Like Miano.
That shows you who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Miano
shows
has
who
been
he is.
faithful, served God faithfully, and been very consistent. Yeah, his reward is great.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
his reward is great.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aizo. Thank you so much for honoring us with your story. It's been a beauty. I have honestly, it's an amazing story where you can see just God being faithful in every single step, in every single, from when you got saved, even before with the drugs. And he knew he had a plan for you, and we can still see it. And I know you're going to do amazing things. We cannot wait to hear more and more. I mean,
Yeah.
I think
it's amazing.
thank God for you.
Yeah.
BTP sahi tuna pull international.
Yeah, international audiences. So to your Ugandan audience, please.
Yeah, to my Ugandan
Wow.
people, to my TCK family, and every other of my friends. Thank you, first of all, for embracing us. Let's keep serving God. We never know. God's vineyard is full of many surprises, and I pray that all of us are able to live an impactful life for the glory of God.
Amen. And they should also subscribe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Support
BTP,
us. Support us.
Beyond the Pulpit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Na uko kwa pulpit.
I am sure hii pulpit ni tofauti. Yeah, I am sure
It's down
the
here.
socials are very clear, so feel free.
Hii pulpit unaketi.
Hii pulpit ni ya swag.
Yeah.
Umetulia
Thank you.
tu hapo.
Thank you once again. Hata wewe Larry, thank you for being here. Thank you for being my co-host on this amazing podcast.
Yeah.
And thank you to our audience. Thank you so much. To our Ugandan watchers.
And our Congolese as well.
And our Congolese
Nigerian.
watchers. I mean,
And
everyone,
Nigerians.
Yeah.
everyone, the Nigerian ones, thank you. Karibuni sana to Beyond the Pulpit. And make sure you subscribe. So thank you also to our audience, our very common audience that has watched this
Our
to the
400
end. 400 and,
subscribers.
okay, viewers kidogo ukuwa wengi, lakini
On our way to
subscribers
1 million.
On our way to 1 million, for sure. Help us grow by subscribing and sharing this podcast with everyone that you know they will enjoy. So thank you so much for watching us until we meet on episode hiyo namba ingine. Mimi msikuwa mnani judge 21. Ona hata Aizo anajua na yeye ni guest tu. Guy. Hizi vitu mtakuwa tu mtaniwekea mahali. Si ndio director utaniwekea. Thank you. So thank you. Bye bye. Be safe. God loves you.